Welcome to The Holistic Entrepreneur with success coach, holistic nurse practitioner, and best-selling author, Bonnie Groessl. Bonnie shares inspirational and enlightening content to educate, empower, and facilitate well-being while nurturing the mind-body-spirit connection. This boost of positive energy will help you manage stress and make the most of your life, allowing you to thrive in the new normal. Now, please welcome the host of The Holistic Entrepreneur, Bonnie Groessl.
Welcome, everyone. This is your host, Bonnie Groessl, here at The Holistic Entrepreneur. I am so grateful that you are sharing your valuable time with me today. Thank you. Now, if this is your first time listening, welcome. And if you've tuned in before, welcome back. I hope that you find this will be another great show with insights to help you on your journey of well-being. Now, I always want to remind you that the information that I present here on the show is educational, inspirational, and motivational in nature, but I always want you to just take what fits for you and simply let go of the rest. This show does not intend or imply to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment either. I always want to remind everyone of that little caveat before we begin. Now remember to check out the show page. Sometimes I got some really cool stuff for you there. And you can always connect with me at bonniegroessl.com. All of those links are on the show page below. So on our last show, I shared that my goal was to deliver bite-sized pieces for self-care and stress management tips to nurture your mind, body, and spirit. And I'll share some of those simple things that you can easily slip into your daily practice and not have to make another to-do list. But I need to say this. I want you to just take what fits for you because everyone is different. You'll know what resonates with you, and it won't be everything that we talk about. I mean, I'll give you suggestions, but anyone can provide examples of how to provide good self-care, and we'll talk about some of those, but ultimately, you need to decide what makes you feel nourished and renewed. That's what self-care is all about. It's supposed to make you feel good. So whatever helps you to relieve stress and feel good might change from time to time, too, along your life's journey. I mean, we're always evolving. So whenever you're listening to this show, if this resonates with you, go for it. And if not, just let go with what doesn't fit for you. Now, last time, we talked about breathing, and your action step was to just breathe. Now, if you missed the last episode, you can find all of the past episodes on your favorite podcast directory, or you can always find all the archives at bonniegroessl.com as well. But last time, I asked you to notice your breath, to just notice how you breathe. Is it shallow or is it deep? Do you find yourself sighing a lot? Are you breathing with your chest? Or are you breathing way down and into your belly? And I suggested that you sit for just a minute or two and pay attention. Notice what it feels like. The air coming in. Does it go all the way down to your belly? And sort of bottom out before it leaves? And then notice the air going out. Now, I want to take a moment on every show to remind you to just stop and take that moment for you. Just stop and pay attention. Notice the air coming in and feel it as it bottoms out and then as the air is leaving. Notice. And notice you. Notice what a beautiful human being you are. Appreciate that. So I want to remind you to just stop and notice. It may be the only moment you take for yourself. But you know what? It is so, so important to your well-being. I was reading an article from the New York Times recently about how stressed women in particular are from the fallout of this pandemic, especially moms. I mean, things have changed in a huge way with COVID-19. And in many places, kids are doing virtual learning. They're not going away to school. They're staying home, and you're having to teach them in conjunction with their teacher that's probably online. But they're not going to school anymore or in person. And more people than ever are working from home, which might be due to their employer's decision, that you can do your work from home, so please do that for everyone's safety. Or maybe moms need to just stay home if they can and work from home because they need to provide childcare, because there isn't enough childcare. Normally, these kids would be in school. So with kids not in school, many women are having to stay home with their children with the virtual learning environment, and there's no childcare. So they have to be there. They're the ones holding the bag. And when the kids were going to school, that was really serving as their childcare, so to speak, during the day. But now so many women are struggling to get their jobs done, their work done, helping their kids get educated, and taking care of everything else. The meals, the household, you name it. I imagine some couples are blessed in that both partners are equally responsible for domestic issues. Things like taking care of the house and meals and taking care of the kids and things like that. But what about single moms? Or what if the partner is not willing or can't help very much? Many women are at the breaking point. They've been doing this since March of 2020. That's almost a year. We're almost to March again. Now, there may have been a little difference in summer for kids who have the summers off from school, but not every school district functions like that. And there's still childcare needs. So for so many women, they also have another job. So if you're an entrepreneur and you work for yourself, you know that if you're not working, there's no income coming in. And if you're an employee and work for someone else, you know that you still need to do your job. Then you go through the COVID exposures, and then everyone in the family has to quarantine. This has happened to, my kids' families a couple of times. It's been a nightmare for so many. And that's why I believe that breathing is so important. You're doing it anyway, and it doesn't take any extra time to just notice, to just take that pause. So if you followed with the last action step that I gave you last time and noticed your breathing, just being still for a moment or two and just pay attention to that breath, you were actually being mindful in that exercise, and it's a form of meditation. And yes, meditation can be that simple. You don't have to sit cross-legged and say Om for an hour, right? Now, you can do that, but you don't have to meditate that way. And we'll talk about more of that on the next show. But, maybe you're a mom struggling to hold it all together. And you might feel that if this doesn't end soon, you're going to lose your mind, like some of the women that I read about in this New York Times article. This pandemic, the lockdowns, the virtual schooling, the stress of the uncertainty, the unknown, not knowing when this is going to end. All of that has been so hard, to say the least. So maybe you're a mom of an infant or a toddler, and virtual school scenario doesn't really fit you. Well, you still have stress that you're dealing with. Maybe you're working from home, and we all know how little you get done when your attention needs to be on that little one, right? All the time. Hopefully, there's nap time, and then you get a little bit of respite, but maybe not. So your action step for today is to experiment a little bit, to get creative and see how you can fit just a minute or two to just breathe, to just stop. A few times a day is great, but I want you to at least try to do this once a day. Now, it's just a time where you just let go of everything else, be still, and just breathe. That's all there is to it, really. And if the only place that you have privacy is in the bathroom, go for it. Use that time. I know someone who started their meditation practice sitting on the commode because it was the only place she had time to herself. Now, it was just a minute or two, but she was able to do this a few times a day. And even if you have a toddler at home, maybe there's nap time, but if not, maybe you can sneak a minute for yourself in the bathroom, and if so, do that. But if you can't be in the bathroom with the door closed because your toddler or infant can't be away from you, and some kids are like that, they need to be watched all the time or they're crying if you're not right there, make it a game that you play with your toddler and bring them into the bathroom with you and teach them how to be still and notice their breath. Get creative. I know a lot of people who started this way with their kids, and they made it a little game. And it's really good for your kids as well. This Valentine's Day is coming up. Think of this as the Valentine's Day gift to yourself. You deserve it, no matter what your situation is. You can always stop and notice your breath. So practice it as a Valentine's Day gift to yourself, and then do it all the time, every day. Make it part of who you are. Now, next time we'll talk more about mindfulness and what meditation is and isn't, and I'll see you on the next show. I want to thank you for joining me at the Holistic Entrepreneur Show today. I know that time is our most precious asset, and so I appreciate you spending your time with me. Now, my purpose is to be of the best service to this community. Whether it's your personal or your work life, I'm here to support you. The best place to get the latest scoop is at bonniegroessl.com. Everything is there. We can connect, and you'll find special offers and gifts that I have for you to help you attain the health, happiness, and abundance you deserve. And I encourage you to sign up for my monthly newsletter for more useful information and exclusive offers. The links are on the show page below. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to the Holistic Entrepreneur Show on your favorite podcast directory so that you automatically receive the newest episode when it's released. Until next time, this is Bonnie Groessl, wishing you health, happiness, and abundance.